I learned to delay gratification. I learned to say, I can't afford this trip right now. I learned to say, I'd love to have a pet, but I realized when I got divorced, I couldn't afford a pet. So I had the pet go with my ex-husband. I realized that as much as I love my family, that I need not feel guilty because I can't see them right now, because I'm working on a goal that will set me up for financial success, so that in turn I will be able to see them every year. All right, family, it is TikTok broke time. Thank you so much for being here at the computer deck with me. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
I want to talk about all the things I can't afford right now. We can start with my glasses. They've been scratched since last October, but I ran out of contacts, and my insurance doesn't cover my eye appointment, so not sure what to do about that. Those are usually about at least $300. What else?
Now, I'm going to tell you, if you have ever had to buy contacts, and millions of us have, they are ridiculously expensive. Mine are astigmatism, so my eye pupil, whatever it is, cornea, retina, I don't know, but it's shaped like a football. It's shaped like a football instead of a basketball. So I have highly specialized lenses. So not only do I have the worst eyesight possible, so I'm way up on the Richter scale on that, they have to custom make my lenses. So I have to order lenses about 7 weeks before I need them. And they're rarely covered very much by insurance. And something else to consider, and I do carry Aetna insurance. That's just my own private insurance, even though I work for the school district. I don't get it through theirs. Something to consider, family, and I have worn glasses since I was in 4th grade, and I've gone on and off without vision insurance. But something I want you to consider when you get older as to why you may want to carry insurance. I don't know if it's as big of a deal when you're younger, but I tell you, when you start hitting past that 40 stage, all right, you really want to consider insurance, even though it doesn't seem like it covers very much. You think, oh my goodness, it's only going to cover, maybe $150, $200 towards either contacts or glasses. We don't get both. But the reason you may want to seriously consider it, even though it doesn't seem like a bargain, is about 3 years ago, I had emergency retina surgery. Okay, I'm talking emergency. And they even held the office open so I could get in because my retina had torn in 2 places in the same eye. Now, that would have been an astronomical bill if I had not had insurance. So you have to keep in mind that your vision insurance, even though we're used to looking at just, this is how much it pays for contacts, this is how much it pays for glasses, and yeah, it usually isn't very much, especially when you consider after your deductible and or you consider after the monthly payment. By the time I've paid the extra $20 a month to Aetna, or whoever your carrier is, you're going to realize you're already paying a couple hundred into it, which is pretty much going to equal the so-called free eye exam you get. But the biggest reason I would give you for keeping it is emergency eye surgery. Okay, very costly without it. Just something to consider. This young lady saying that her contacts are $300, easy. If it makes you feel better, my contacts are approximately $200 for one eye. So for me, it runs about $400 to get a set, probably closer to about $450. Insurance is next to nothing, but just consider this. And because they are so expensive, like everyone else, all right, almost like everyone else, but like most of us that pinch pennies, I've done this for years. Probably not highly recommended, but I can honestly say it had nothing to do with my retina surgery. I wear extended contacts. They're designed to be worn for a month, not without taking them out, of course, okay? You take them out each night, but they're designed to last a month. I've been doing this for years, family. I push it to 2 months, and I write on the contact lens box just how, when was the last time I changed the contact. So either I change it when 2 months goes by or when it rips. But never do I wear them, however, past the expiration date. That I'm not willing to play, Let's put stuff in our eyes past the expiration date, but they're good for a solid 2 years. So just something to consider as to why you probably want vision insurance, even if you think it's not that needy. Okay. And she is not alone in, having scratches on your lenses and, extending your contacts beyond wear. The things we do, family.
I need a new catalytic converter. Those cost about $1,500, $2,000. Not sure where that money's gonna come from. I just
Well, I have some suggestions where it could come from, but I'll let you know later on in this video.
came back from a vet appointment for my dog. We went to an animal dentist because she needs dental work, and I got an estimate for the amount of dental work she would need. It's about $3,000. She needs 4 teeth extracted and a cleaning.
Now, family, I did a video. About, I don't know, maybe about 2 weeks ago, and it was on the cost of pets. I will attach it to the end here, but it was on how much pets cost us. And hold on just a second. And it was the fact that I see pets as luxuries. Now, I know it sounds like a cruel thing to say. My pet is a member of the family. They are not a luxury. We can say the same thing about having kids, especially if you have too many. Yes, they're a member of the family. They're not a luxury. However, you might want to take into account how many you're going to have under the circumstances, income-wise, and all of that. Pets are definitely a luxury. And one of the things that, and I have fallen, in the past, okay, I've fallen off that stool of responsibility, and I had to give up 2 pets in my 20s. One to the Humane Society, another one got adopted out after I left it at the vet's office. But I'm going to put that vet thing at the end. You have to have a vet account. And by one person's standards, I think it was on that video, they said something, I think I've read somewhere. I don't know if it was on this video or some article I read. It was very recently. You should budget, I kid you not, they said $2,000 a year for your pet. Each pet, $2,000 a year. And this does not cover emergency pet surgery. This is just kind of like, to be able to keep your pet, keep Fifi and Fido, whatnot, in food, basic medical checkups. Does not account emergency hospitalization, all that. But that's what they were saying. To care for your pet, rock bottom, $2,000 a year, each pet.
So,
Oh, that's adorable.
did I mention I also owe $3,000 to the IRS?
No, you did not, young lady. Please tell us all about it. $3,000 to the IRS. Why? I mean, we know it's because obviously you didn't pay enough taxes, but what was the situation? I don't think she really gets into it.
Yeah, that's on top of the $3,000 that I owe from the 2021 tax season. I've paid that down to about $1,000, but yeah, still paying it off. So that's about like $4,000 that I owe to the government.
So wait. So between the catalytic converter, the $3,000, the dog at about $4,000, we're at 7, another 4. Oh, well, she says here, yeah. Oh, kicking their student loans in September. Oh, we got more money here, $40,000 to student loans. Don't forget, family, student loans have started interest, right? They started interest on that. The off ramp is done. Wow, she's got a lot of debt.
Government that's going to kick in my student loans in September.
So I'm doing a fast math. She's like around 70 grand in debt. 60, maybe about 60 with all of that. Probably closer to 60, about 60. Wow. She says here, my degree that this is the same person, my degree that supposedly would increase my earning potential, but didn't account for corporate greed written off as inflation and bad landlords. But hey, at least I know how to use rapacious in a sentence.
$40,000. Also, I'm supposed to travel this summer, so I'll need a pet sitter. That's
another luxury. A pet sitter is another luxury. And she's traveling this summer. Are you traveling this summer?
About $50 a day. I'll be gone for about 2 weeks.
Whoa, $50 a day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's about $700 for a pet sitter, on top of the approximately $4,000 for dental work. So we're at almost, we're just tipping 5 grand, just shy. Take away a couple hundred. That's just for Fifi or Fido. And she's getting ready to go on vacation for 2 weeks.
You guys are like, well, you can't like just travel when you're broke. You can't like summer in Greece. I'm going camping with my friends. And then I'm visiting my family. I want to be able to visit my family. Don't come for me being like, well, you live in LA. If you lived in somewhere that was less expensive, you would be able to afford all this. Sure, I could live in Boise, Idaho, but Boise, Idaho doesn't have the career opportunities that I want. And also, are people in Boise, Idaho doing any better than I am right now? I don't think so.
When I was trying hard to get out of debt, all right, before I reached debt freedom and all of that stuff, got my condo paid, had my student loan forgiven, yada, yada. I had to tell my family in Oregon, because I'm here in Florida, I had to tell them, I'm sorry, I have financial goals that I have to take care of. And I did not see them for a couple of years. Well, it wasn't a long time, but it was about 3 years I did not see them. And here is what I explained to them. And of course, my family being very responsible, there was not even an argument. They completely supported it and they completely understood. I said, I could go broke. Not like my family needed justification, but it made me feel better to explain to them, even though they were fine no matter what my decision. So just want to be clear about that. Here was my thinking though. If I try to go and see them when I'm broke, it's going to keep me from being able to see them in the future, in the sense of I would have a comfortable budget in which to see them. It would always be me trying and trying my hardest to peel myself, through, wade through a whole bunch of bills, stress out every year, deal with a whole lot of debt going on behind me and stuff to try to go and see them. This would be year after year stress to try to get a ticket from Tampa to Florida. Okay, on top of, remember, I was carrying a $110,000 student loan that I needed to make sure that, I could get forgiven. And I was going through, divorce, yada, yada, 10 years ago and all of that. Okay, student loan forgiven in 2022. But I told myself that if I would sacrifice, that's a big word here, if I would sacrifice the fun things that I would like to do, so I could peel myself out of debt and reach debt freedom, this would most assuredly grant me the financial ability to see them every single summer without having to worry as to how I was going to afford it. I stay with a sibling. It definitely lowers the cost. I don't need a car. I don't need a hotel. Basically, I just need an air ticket, my food, any fun stuff I want to buy there and back. And well, people may say, oh, but it's family, you should sacrifice. I know my family well enough, and I can only speak for my family. I know my family would much rather see me get myself out of debt like I did and be able to see them in the future every single summer or nearly every single summer than to think that I am going into credit card debt. I am being running up, Klarna and Afterpay and paying for and all of that stuff. They would not rest easy thinking that, yes, while I may be out there and they love to see me, that I'm going to be financially putting myself in harm's way to try to do this. And I made that sacrifice. And for about 4 years, I did not go out. I mean, don't get me wrong. In the 10 years, I'd gone out, a couple times already. So it wasn't like they went 10 years without seeing me. But there was just a period from 2020, about 2019, 2021, right around there. I took about a 3-year period. I went nowhere. My butt was working to pay off the condo, assured that the student loan was taken care of, yada, yada. It's about the ability to make sacrifice. She does make a point in the sense of, to some extent, it doesn't really matter what city you live in. To some extent, Okay, she's in Los Angeles. And something you also need to keep in mind when you move to a less expensive city, all right, where your pay is being dropped because you're in a cheaper cost of living area, it can also potentially affect your Social Security because your Social Security is based on your highest earning years, as I understand it. And so when you transfer from, let's say, a Los Angeles income and you transfer to a Boise, Idaho income, I think that's what she was saying, all right, that may, I'm no Social Security expert, but you may want to check, that may also drop your Social Security, potentially. But it's something you would want to look at. But her thing is saying that, I need a pet sitter for 2 weeks for my dog, and I'm going camping and I'm going, traveling for half a month. I'm 57. I've never taken a 2 week vacation. Now, that's not to say, well, you haven't taken a 2 week vacation, so why should the rest of us be denied? You absolutely should not. It's not my business. It's not my place. Okay. To tell you whether or not I think you should take a 2 week vacation. I personally don't care if you do or don't because it's not my budget. But I can tell you from my experience, which is what I'm sharing with you, is the inability to make sacrifices on the fun things we want to do. We want to go camping with our friends. Meanwhile, we owe, medical for that luxury pet that we have. We want to go visit our family. We need a dog sitter for, $700 approximately for 2 weeks, even though we need a catalytic converter and we're not sure where the money's going to come from. Oftentimes, when we say that we don't have the money for something, well, part of that statement may be true. In its entirety, we don't have any money for something. For a lot of us, that's not true. There is a portion that we do have. The problem is we just don't want to spend it. We would rather spend it on things that give us more happiness. If you think about the bills she has, the pet, the car, the $40,000 in student loans, these were all things at one time that gave her immense happiness. Now, I'm not saying the pet does not give her happiness, but let's put it in its place. These are now all bills. These are now all bills that are due. You went to school and had the good time at college. You were mesmerized at that cute little puppy in the window. You loved that car. I don't know if you loved it, but let's just pretend, okay? You went and you got that car, and that was the car you at least wanted at that time. The only thing that I would give exception to are the glasses, because your eyesight is what it is, and that's not something that we can genetically control. Okay, I couldn't say, well, I don't want to have astigmatism because I can't afford the bill, so I excuse her contact eye appointment thing. But the other three things, car, pet, student loan, those are all voluntary. Those are all things that we chose to pick up, or she chose to pick up at a time when she thought it would be fun. Bills are like looking at puppies. They're so cute when they're little. Oh, I'll take care of you. Tickle the tail, rub the tummy. They're easy to control. They're tiny. But much like little puppies can turn into great big dogs, and well, they have their benefits as big dogs and stuff. It ain't the cute little puppy. It's not so controllable. So your credit card bills. Cute and tiny when they're small. When the balance is low, it's manageable. But then it just gets bigger and bigger. And, I'm not saying adult dogs aren't attractive, but there's a reason we all run to puppies. Right? So anyways, 3 out of those 4 bills were all controllable. Oh, and by the way, delay your car repair and it just makes things worse over the long run.
People in America seem not well.
She might want to add herself to the list. I'm just saying, family.
And if you are doing well, living under 100K in a major city, I want to talk to you.
Oh, I forgot she said that part. All right. Let's take a look here. I am 57 years old. I make $63,000 a year. I live in Tampa, Florida. I'm doing just fine. Been through hell and back financially to do it. But without going into a long diatribe, because I don't feel like it, about my personal lifelong histories of bankruptcies, auto repossessions, student loans I can't afford. The bottom line is this. I learned to delay gratification. I learned to say, I can't afford this trip right now. I learned to say, I'd love to have a pet, but I realized when I got divorced, I couldn't afford a pet. So I had the pet go with my ex-husband. I realized that as much as I love my family, that I need not feel guilty because I can't see them right now, because I'm working on a goal that will set me up for financial success, so that in turn I will be able to see them every year. To be able to delay one's gratification is powerful, and it doesn't matter how much money you make. In fact, the amount of money you make has less to do, in my opinion, with how successful you'll be financially in the long run than your ability to delay instant gratification. There's a reason when I do the Dave Ramsey video reactions, there's a reason with people who make 200,000 plus, 150,000, okay? Why people who make that amount of income are broke. There's a reason why people who work in public service retire very well. Not rich, but solid. Why is that? Because those of us oftentimes who had to live on a budget, and that's, and statistically, you can look it up if you don't believe me, teachers are some of the most comfortably retired people. Okay, because what was your question? Those of you who make less than 100,000, whatever, live in a big city. I live in Tampa, big enough. We've learned to delay gratification. We've learned that as much as we'd like to take that 2-week camping trip, we have a pet that needs to be taken care of. We have a car that needs a repair. We have student loans that need to be paid off. It takes financial maturity, discipline, to be able to swim in waters, that feel at the time, dark and murky. But we have to remember that in many of our financial issues, we jumped into that water voluntarily. We jumped into it when we took on a student loan we could not pay off, and perhaps we never even graduated from college with that degree, and we never work in it. We jumped into the water when we said we were going to take on this car payment because this is the car we really, really wanted, and we want it now. We voluntarily jump off the diving board head first into debt. But remember, all debt looks small at first, and then it just builds and builds. She does not yet have financial discipline. She does not yet have financial maturity. And the difference between her retirement 30 years from now, or even 40 years from now, she looks like she's in her 20s, will be whether she retires impoverished or whether she retires financially sound, is going to be, does she have the ability to hold off a 2-week camping trip and to tell people, I have some goals. I need to get my financial situation squared away and focus. That's what it's going to be about.
I just went to Costco and bought 2 things: teriyaki noodles and tissue paper. Tell me why it was $32.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, you guys, you seen that teriyaki stuff? Hold on. What is it? That teriyaki noodle stuff? Hold on. Let me get to that again. Hold on. This part goes really
I
fast.
want to talk to you.
I just went to Costco and bought 2 things: teriyaki.
Okay, these teriyaki noodles are like $7. They're great if you're really hungry and you want something cheap, but don't expect too much from them. The issue I have with Costco, and I am a Costco member, admit it, family, sometimes, maybe it's just me, but I doubt it. Sometimes I think I'm a member of Costco just because it kind of replaces the mall that I used to wander around at. When malls were the in thing and stuff, we all went to the mall and hung out. Now the malls are pretty much a dinosaur town. So now I go hang out at Costco. Sometimes I think my $60 a year membership is more for me just to hang out at Costco. Because I about died when I did get my membership about, I don't know, maybe I've been a member of Costco now like 2 years. First time I got my membership and I paid $68 for that bag of pineapple. $8 for the bag of pineapple. And then what was it, $50, $60 for the membership. So it came to like $68. Oh, that was a sorry cry day that day, family. But that stuff ain't great. But everything at Costco that you pick up is around $8 to $13. So sometimes, even though bulk is cheaper, I've started questioning the older I get, is bulk always cheaper? Yes, it may be cheaper to buy four things of what this egg noodle, whatever it is, okay? Yakisoba type noodle. But how much of it do you really want to eat? At least, thinking of a single person like me, it's like, how much of it do I really want? And it's going to sit in the freezer till it gets freezer burn. And why do we need to, and as far as when he was holding up the tissues, why do we need to buy 6 boxes of tissues right now? Costco really is for families, big families. It's not really so much for single people, but darn it, if I don't like to walk around sometimes and just decompress.
Noodles and tissue paper. Tell me why it was $32.
So I need to come up with $4,000 by April 20th in order to secure a cheaper apartment that I'm looking into. They want $250 per cat.
$250 per pet.
For a pet deposit. Why do I have 3 cats?
Do you remember this lady, family? And she's beautiful. Do you remember her though? I did a TikTok on her and I put her on the cover, and she was talking about the cost of rent. And I know she was really, really stressed out. Something that people need to remember, and I've said this 100 times, guys, pets, you must consider them if you are renting. Because when you rent, you're going to pay a pet deposit per pet. You must also consider their size. The bigger the pet and you're a renter, the more limited spaces you're going to have to rent from. I don't understand why this is such a shock to people. I've even known places that charge you not only the pet deposit, but per month. Like Fifi and Fido are actually going to be charged a monthly rent as well. I know that pets make us feel less lonely. Trust me, I want a little Shih Tzu running around here, decked out in bling bling, okay, all pink, all right? That's what I want. But I also know the fiscal responsibility of it, the time commitment and all of that. So you got to remember, when you get a pet, every pet that you get, and you are a renter, especially you are a renter, something else to also consider. All right. If you like to travel a lot, even if you're not a renter, can you afford to have your pet boarded? Or who's going to take your pet? Saying, hey, I have, 2 large Great Danes and I need someone to house sit them is a little different than saying I have, a cat. You got to just make those considerations. So she has 3 cats.
And $20 for the application fee already. I saw someone else do this on TikTok with their student debt. She went live and everybody donated roses, and she was able to pay off $20,000 in student debt. I think 1 rose counts as $1, so if I get 4,000 roses, I can move into my apartment.
What's that song? Da-da roses, da-da roses. I can't remember the song. Something to do with roses. All right. So people are going on TikTok basically saying, go buy a rose. Now, if this young lady ever, does a fundraiser on TikTok, I will buy you a rose, girlfriend, for $1. You heard me say it here, because I've looked at her twice now on the TikTok. She's a beautiful young lady. She means well. Okay. I know she struggles a lot financially because she says it on TikTok. Okay. But one of the things that we're struggling with is, the luxuries in our life. Look at the luxuries in your life and add those luxuries up.
That is more affordable. Do I think this is going to work? Absolutely not. But
She's talking about buying the roses.
am I going to try it? Yeah. Yes.
And if that doesn't work, honey, you can always do Uber and Lyft.
I'm out of ideas.
How do you guys do it? How do you survive? I'm apartment shopping. I'm looking for a place to live, and it's so out of my reach. I work 2 jobs from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then from 4 p.m. till 11:30 p.m. I literally run to my second job just to be on time, and I still can't.
I did that once, but before it was just right before my bankruptcy days in my early 20s. And I literally, okay, I had a job. This is just like shortly before I filed bankrupt. Probably lasted half a year or so because I was just like dying trying to do it. And I worked from 8 to 5 p.m., a professional, administrative assistant job. And then I worked at a call center. This is when I lived in Los Angeles. And then I worked at a call center from about 8 to midnight. I did this 4 to 5 days a week. And then on Saturday, I would do a full 8 hours at the call center job. Many of us have done this. Now, I know the times and the economy were different, okay? That I will acknowledge. But many of us have worked these very long hour jobs. In fact, and then for a period of time after I moved back to Oregon, and I had, excuse me, I just hiccuped, and I had filed bankruptcy. Okay, that was bankruptcy number 1 from credit cards. I was doing a temp job for the Eugene, it was the cable company in Eugene. Well, I told them, I said, and I was tired. And again, I'm still working all these extra hours and stuff, okay, because I'd moved back from Los Angeles and I was looking for work. And I told them, I said, hey, I'm going to go to the car. I'm going to lay back real quick and just take a little nap. You know what happened. I fell asleep, and I kid you not, I woke up to 2-3 employees banging, like, on all sides of the car door going, Carrie, wake up, wake up. Ah, geez. So if you're going to fall asleep in the car because you're going to take a nap, I strongly recommend, seriously, because people do it, I understand it, tell somebody in the office, preferably tell 2 people because someone's going to forget, so tell somebody in the office. Also, leave your window cracked, because it's easier for you to hear them if your window is cracked. I'm just saying, we got to do, people, what we got to do sometimes, all right? I understand taking a nap in the car. I really do.
Afford living in California. Like, I just can't. I know some of you guys have roommates. I can't do that because I take care of my mom,
Oh, he says he takes care of his mom, so it's awkward to have a roommate. Here's the thing. It may be a necessity, though, even though you take care of your mom. And I understand that, the sensitivity of that stuff. But if it's possible to find the right roommate, okay, as long as you don't expect that roommate to do the caretaking, they're just renting a room. It might actually be helpful if it's the right person. I know it's not easy to live with a roommate. I have been very fortunate. I've never had to live with a roommate. It's just myself, or it's someone that I'm in a relationship with and I'm kind of shacking up.
So it's awkward. It's not everybody's willing to share a house with an elderly woman,
Hopefully you're getting some sort of assistance, social security, disability, don't really know, assistance, because I've known more than one person that has a parent living with them because their parents are, their parents need extra care for whatever the reason. So make sure you look into that. But those assistance things, I mean, it's a chore to get that done too. You have to be a real advocate.
So how? I feel like a single parent. Like, I'm apartment shopping. I've even considered renting a room. And just to give you a perspective, a room here in Thousand Oaks, where I live in Ventura County, is going for $1,200 a room. One room. God forbid I look for a studio, and it's like they want $1,600 for a little tiny studio, and they want you to make 3 times the amount of rent. Perfect credit. God forbid I look for a 2-bedroom or even a 1-bedroom apartment. 1-bedroom apartment goes for $2,300 in my area.
Gotta get out of California if you guys possibly can. I know everybody says just move, and I'm aware it's not always as easy as that, and I respect that. It'd be like someone telling me to move, but my career is here. It's, I can move a few years to it, and I'm not in the career anymore, but to just up and split, might be kind of hard. I respect that.
A 2-bedroom apartment goes for $3,200. How do you guys survive? Jesus Christ.
And you know what? That's the type of guy, young ladies, you want. He didn't, ditch his mom to the curb. He has a commitment, loyalty to her. The only hesitation is just make sure he's not a mama's boy. That's the only thing. But I don't consider this behavior being mama's boy by any means. This is called being a responsible son. So, there's definitely a difference. To me, the mama's boy is the person who just feels entitled and like they should have everything. This is clearly a son who's looking out for his mom, so kudos to him. All right, this is the last one. Let's take a listen here.
Income household, my husband and I have come to the realization we can't afford groceries right now. Like, just straight up can't afford groceries, because if we buy groceries, then we either won't be able to pay our rent or our electric bill, because both of those come out of this pay cycle and they will take the entire pay cycle. We have 2 incomes and we cannot afford to eat, and we don't even have kids. Like, it's literally just the 2 of us and we can't afford.
If you have 2 incomes, no kids, and you cannot afford to eat, I'm going to jump the gun here a little bit. There's money being mismanaged somewhere. All right, somewhere or another. Are you using the iPhone that costs $600? Do you have cable TV? Are you a member of every premium channel available on TV? I'm a member of YouTube for obvious reasons. I have YouTube Premium. Okay, allows me to get in and out of YouTube real quick. I can skip a lot of the advertising and stuff because obviously I'm on YouTube as a creator. But really, when 2 so-called 40-hour-a-week, I'm assuming, I don't think she says it, but 2 40-hour-a-week working adults cannot pay the rent and buy food. I'm not looking at anything else. Pay the rent and buy food. Rent, electric, you know what I mean? And buy food. Not saying money's being mismanaged for sure, because I can't see the funding, but something just tells me if we were to look at it, you could cut here, and there. And are they working 40 hours a week each? And then are they picking up an extra job on top of that?
To eat with 2 incomes. That is just. But I mean, I guess, that means we won't have to wash dishes because our dishwasher is still broken, as it has been for 2 months at the place that we pay so much in rent. Wild.
All right, folks. All right, folks, that is the end of our Sunday TikTok broke. Don't forget, I'm going to put at the end here the vet TikTok that I did not too long ago, because Fifi and Fido don't come for free, even though we do love them. All right, they are a financial responsibility. Guys, thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me. I hope you will consider subscribing. Family, my time is up, and so is yours. Good night, everyone.